Joining us now, we have Matt Brown and Cynthia Mendez. They are running for governor and lieutenant governor of Rhode Island, along with a slate of 50 progressives who are looking to have a full-scale revolution in that blue state. It's great to talk to both of you guys. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So Cynthia, you recently ran and were elected as state senator. Now you're running as lieutenant governor. Can you just lay out for people the sort of unique political model that you all have crafted in the state of Rhode Island? Also just lay out for people a little bit of the political dynamics there for people who haven't been following this story.
Absolutely. Yeah, in Rhode Island for a really long time, you didn't run for office unless you've been tapped on the shoulder by the political establishment and given essentially a permission slip to run. And if you did run, you absolutely did not win. And so the Rhode Island political cooperative model is an incredible model that allows everyday working class people that have been left out of the system and systems of decision making, a way to get the resources they need, and more importantly, the support and community that they need. So I didn't run alone. I ran with a slate of last time I ran with an amazing slate of 23 candidates for House and Senate. We won 10 seats, and we were able to see a very conservative legislature move on legislation they had previously not been interested in before. And so, for example, the General Assembly was not interested in talking or touching the $15 minimum wage. And within the first month of us being in session, they moved on that, where previously they were just not interested in that. And we saw gains like that through our work. So we not only had the resources we needed to run, a community to run, but we also had a deep sense of accountability once we were in there to move things that we had promised our constituents that we would fight for.
Matt, tell us a little bit about exactly what it was like to both see yourselves prevail actually once against the machine, because that's what I'm most fascinated by. In a lot of these, semi-one-party states, like, it's just so difficult in order to actually break through the establishment and the logjam. What did you guys do previously, and then what do you plan on doing this time?
Well, what it felt like really was giving people hope for the first time. In our state, I've spent my whole life seeing the same corrupt, uncaring political machine that's been running things. And, they've looked out for themselves, and they've looked out for corporations and the wealthy, and they've ignored everybody else. And for the first time in decades, and I think in memory, people had hope that things could change, because Cynthia won her race, but also, there were 10 races in total that the Rhode Island Political Cooperative won. Candidates who care about their community, who are fighting for their community, who aren't taking any corporate PAC or corporate lobbyist or fossil fuel money. And now we're building on that, and we're going to have 50 candidates, 50, from all across the state, and they're extraordinary people. I mean, it's people like Michael Niemeyer, who's running for Senate, who's running because of his own life experience. His baby girl was born with a terrible brain disease. She won't learn to walk. She won't learn to talk. And they had health insurance. The family had health insurance. And immediately the health insurance company blocked them from getting a genetic test. They blocked their little girl from medicine that would help with potential bleeds. They blocked a chair that would help her swallow. Mm-hmm. In the most extreme situation, the manufacturer of a medicine said they would provide it to the family, and the health insurance company blocked that. So Michael is running, and he's not going to cave on Medicare for all health insurance. He's going to fight for it. And those are the kinds of candidates we have running, and it's giving people hope.
Cynthia, can you just talk to us in practical terms about how the co-op works so that folks in other states who are activists, who are interested, can sort of build on this model? Or do you think it's possible for the co-op model to work in other states, or is it a function of the fact that Rhode Island is such a small place?
It can absolutely work in other states. And the way that it works is that there's the candidates actually pay dues. And so we're able to work and coordinate with the co-op, and we have full kind of coordination there. And we get campaign manager, oppo research, messaging, policy. There's all sorts of literature, all the things that you would need to run a campaign, and essentially all the things that you would expect and need from the Democratic Party that has left us out of the system. And so we are able to be supplied with those things and then be able to, again, run together on this shared platform with our running mates. And we have also provide volunteers and well-trained campaign managers. And as we know, progressives have been losing for a really long time due to the lack of infrastructure of support. There aren't campaign managers and the support that we need. And so it provides really strong infrastructural support as well as the community. And it absolutely can be replicated and needs to be, because there is a deep power grab that happens right now in a lot of states. And there are amazing people who want to represent their community, that know what it means that there's a housing crisis, that we are in a climate crisis, the people that have been fighting for it for decades and yet left out of the seats of decision making in order to actually fight for their community in the Senate or the House.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, talk a little bit about more on the mechanics and stuff, because how exactly can this small co-op model compete on the establishment level? You guys have shown that it can be done. How could other people actually, the actual concrete nature of where you put it together?
I think there are two parts to it that are really powerful. One is that we have an actual community among the candidates, meaning we spend a lot of time together. We form a policy platform together. It's a bold platform, and these are a group of candidates who fight for each other, who stand by each other throughout the campaign, and then, as Cynthia said, importantly, after the campaign in governing, they govern together. And so that actual political community is something I've never seen in the country, and it's really powerful in really practical ways for winning. They really show up for each other during the campaign. And then in terms of the mechanics, it's a really innovative organizing model, because the candidates pay dues to cover the costs of all the services that they receive from the co-op, which is a small staff, small organization that does all the things that's in from A to Z. So candidate training, writing campaign plans and budgets, helping with communications, helping with fundraising, policy papers, everything, really running a coordinated statewide campaign and providing that support that our candidates need and our side needs to win governing power. So that's the model, and it's really powerful, it's really effective, and now we're going to finish the job here in Rhode Island and win a full-out progressive governing majority. And we do think it's a model that can work and is going to work in other states as well.
And Matt, what's exciting is you've already demonstrated that you've been able to bring in people who don't traditionally even have a shot in the process. I mean, Cynthia, my understanding, you were a first-time candidate, weren't really seeing yourself as someone who would run for office, and Matt came to you and said, listen, you can do this, and we're going to do this, and here's what it looks like. Matt, if you're able to prevail here and you're able to get the legislature that you want, what are your top priorities for Rhode Island?
All right. I'm sorry, cut out there for a second, maybe on my end, but I got the question at the end.
I just said, what are your top priorities for the state if you do win and get the legislature that you want?
When we win, we'll win a governing majority in the House and Senate, and obviously also in the executive branch. And we want to make sure people have a living wage, $19 an hour living wage, which is just what it takes to raise a family. We're going to pass a Green New Deal and make Rhode Island the first state in the country that's 100% run on clean energy, and the first state in the country that's net zero emissions. And we're going to shut down the polluting fossil fuel industry that has been dumped in a black and brown and low-income neighborhood in our state, polluting the air and the water for decades. We're going to build 10,000 green affordable housing units to tackle the affordable housing crisis and also the climate crisis. We're going to get a Medicare for all style healthcare system, so everybody has the healthcare that they need for themselves and their families. So, we're going to do the things that we know we should have done a long time ago that we can do. The only thing that's in our way is this corrupt political machine that takes the corporate PAC and corporate lobbyist money and works for them and not for the people of the state. And so this is a very, very hopeful thing for our state. It's the most hopeful thing that I've been a part of, and we're ready to roll here.
Cynthia, you seen any dirty tricks from the establishment yet?
Yeah, it's all they know. They have they have a playbook that they continue to play. They're the party. Is known for just really being manipulative and obstructive, and they have given us access to Van or withheld access to Van and manipulated that contract over and over again. Van is a voter access tool. They have really been really concerned actually now due to the wins that the gains that the co-op made in 2020 and hired a high-powered consultant to come in to help retain seats so that incumbents don't lose. We also are going through a redistricting process now, and they hired Kimball Bryce, whose license plate says gerrymander on his license plate. And that's the person that they hired to help with the redistricting process. So there's really nothing that they won't, do in order to white knuckle grip, hold the power that they have. But they can feel it slipping, and they would be right to be worried.
Well, as you guys know, I've been following this and what you're up to for a while. I think it's a fascinating model. I'm excited to see what happens. Senator Mendez and former Secretary of State Brown, great to talk with you guys this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We had multiple more demonetized YouTube segments here. It's just, that's the way of life that we live now here at Breaking Points, despite the show actually doing better than ever. So there you go. That's what it's like for us, which is that even in those times when we want to cover the news the way that we want, it just somehow runs afoul of what is suitable or not. So the only way that this show continues is through your guys' support. Premium link is down there in the subscription if you can support us. If you can, it means the world, and it means the ability for us to cover whatever we want, whenever we want, and whatever we have to.
Yeah, we so appreciate you guys. You make this all possible. And we will be back here tomorrow. So we'll be back on track tomorrow, regular schedule next week, and all of that good stuff going forward. Love you guys. Have a good one.
See you tomorrow.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.